And good morning. I'm Tracy Sinclair. Of course, my meteorologist with me is meteorologist Aaron Morrison. Thank you for joining me on Skywatch today.
Thank you.
I'm very excited about this. Usually I'm by myself, and you know I can talk for a long time just by myself, so it's very nice to have someone with me to join in. And today we're going to talk a little bit about solar eclipses. Now, it's been a while since many parts of Alaska have seen a total solar eclipse.
Yeah, I believe the last time was, we'll have a graphic coming up here in the next couple of minutes, but around 1970s, early 1970s along the slope was the last time there was a total solar eclipse that was viewable from mainland Alaska.
So really amazing, but we do have one headed our direction within about 8 years. So I know that seems like a long time, but compared to past solar eclipses, that's really not that long. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk Utqiagvik. Oh, what did I do? That was not what I wanted to do. There we go. There's Utqiagvik. So in the next one will be March 30th. That's 2023. That's the next one. We'll see not only in Utqiagvik, but all the way down the coast, at least to like Nome area, the Seward Peninsula.
Yeah, Nome, Kotzebue, areas in the northwest Arctic borough, and then out towards really locations from Utqiagvik and west will have that potential for seeing the total solar eclipse here in the next about 8 years.
So, but look at the last time that Utqiagvik saw a total solar eclipse, 1487. I mean, can you imagine living at that time and having experienced a total solar eclipse? It's not something that comes on slowly. You kind of think that it would as the sun crosses over, but really it's something that it happens very quickly from bright light to no light. And I think anybody in the medieval times when that happened had to be startled.
Oh yeah, they probably thought that something was going on, that the gods were angry. You hear that quite often from back in historical times. But I mean, it's been 538 years since Utqiagvik last saw a total solar eclipse, and you'll be in the market for one here within the next 8 years.
Yes, that will be amazing. And then an annular eclipse, again, that happened in 1464, and 2057 is the next one. Now, what's the difference between a total solar eclipse and an annular eclipse? And basically, if on the far left is the total solar eclipse, it's when the moon completely blocks out the sun. Then an annular eclipse is when the moon is a little farther away from Earth. It's at that, you're going to help me with the term.
I believe it's the apogee or the opposite one of that.
Right.
I get them both of those confused.
I
It's
do
when
too.
the moon is a little bit further away.
I was hoping, yeah, because I can never remember that exact term. But then in that, so it doesn't quite cover it, so you still see the sun around the outside of it. And then, of course, there's a partial eclipse, which is what you see on the very far right. So Utqiagvik, it was 1464. Next time you'll see an annular eclipse is in 2057. Anchorage, not much better. We're not going to be in the path of that 2033 solar eclipse. The next one for Anchorage, not until 2308.
Well, I won't be here.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to make it around. Many of us won't be, but some of us will. Some of the people will be here. The last time that Anchorage saw a total solar eclipse was in 1943, and then an annular solar eclipse, 2039. So that's a possibility that many of us will still be around to see that one. The last annular eclipse was in 1939. So we do have a little chance to see that annual eclipse. Now I'm going to bring Aaron, and you did some research on solar eclipses across Alaska.
Yeah, I went in, tried to find as much information as I could with the amount of eclipses that we have seen occurring from across the state, and giving you the updates of what we're seeing when it comes to those eclipses. The last one recorded, or at least the earliest one I could find, was back on August 7th in the 1800s. Now, this was an eclipse that did travel from western Alaska all the way down through parts of south central, just north of the Anchorage Bowl, where we did see the totality occurring out towards Talkeetna as you head through parts of the Denali Borough, and then of course parts of southeast also saw it. So that was one that we did find, and of course there was another total eclipse that occurred just shortly about 9 years after that, roughly followed that same path. More of the interior and of course northern parts of the Seward Peninsula did see a better chance for that total solar eclipse. And then of course, as we transition into the 1900s, the last one since 1878 was back on February 4th, 1943. Now this one clipped just southeast of Anchorage. We did see a partial eclipse here. May have seen the sun covered anywhere from about 80 to 95%, which is still impressive to see, but nothing like you would see with 100% totality. Talkeetna, though, did see totality back in the 40s, as well as not Talkeetna, Valdez and the areas of Prince William Sound. And then as we go from July 20th, 1963, this was one that was actually a totality for Talkeetna. And so you can see many areas that have favored these total solar eclipse path have been out towards western Alaska, through south central into the Copper River Basin, parts of the interior. That's where we've seen that better potential for that total solar eclipse. And it wasn't until 1972 that areas north of the Brooks Range saw their last opportunity for seeing a total solar eclipse. Now, if you remember, we were telling you it's been almost 538 years since Utqiagvik last saw a total solar eclipse. Notice that yellow line, that's well south of Utqiagvik. So Utqiagvik in the 1970s only saw a partial solar eclipse, but you will see that opportunity for a total solar eclipse as we welcome in your March 30th of 2033. And there is that total solar eclipse path. You can see through parts of the Yukon Delta, Nome, Utqiagvik, Kotzebue. Those are going to be the hot spots. I was reading an article the other day that was talking about, I believe it was one of the hotel owners or someone who owns a hotel in Nome, saying that they were already getting calls from people in the lower 48.
I don't doubt it, because there's pretty much a total solar eclipse somewhere in the world every year to year and a half. It will occur. And so there is one in 2026. And the path is very odd. Again, it's very far north, won't hit Alaska, but it will hit like parts of Iceland and through parts of Europe. And people are already planning to do that, and that's over a year away. So I can even imagine. I'm actually thinking 2033 is not that far away. So it would be really exciting, because having experienced it, it was really amazing to watch, and then to see it in Alaska, it would be even better.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite things about the total solar eclipse is the changes that undergo within the environment. I mean, you see as the sun gets covered by the moon, the crickets, insects, all of them begin to make their sounds that you hear during the evening. The birds kind of quiet down, the winds begin to pick up. You can see the temperature drop about 5 to 10 degrees. And you even see, I forgot the actual technical term for it, but as the sun shines through the leaves, they create what looks like little sun or partial suns that are shining down on the ground.
That was one of the most amazing things, because when I saw it, this is just some footage from NASA of kind of what we're looking at now. This is more of an annular eclipse. As you can see, it doesn't quite cover the whole thing. Hey, thanks, Kathy, for checking in from Teller, Alaska. We appreciate that. And we did see that same thing, the leaves shining through, and they looked like feathers and little suns all across the ground. You actually saw the reflection, because when you're staring up at the sun with glasses, you can see it. But if you don't have your glasses on, the sun is so powerful that even with 95% of it covered, you don't feel the effects. You don't see the effects in what's going on. So we don't have any time soon that we're going to see it, but 8 years is really not that long that we might see, that we'll see that solar eclipse in Alaska. Start looking for sun now. But we do have, let's talk aurora real fast. Not a huge aurora forecast over the next few days, according to the University of Alaska Geophysical Institute. But when you look at the 27-day forecast, which is obviously not as accurate as the 3-day forecast, you can see that we do have a couple days coming up at the beginning of May that we're looking at still quite high aurora. But the likelihood, the problem right now is that we're getting into those hours where we have less and less darkness. And while that's lovely, and many of us love those long days, we really get to a point where you physically cannot see the aurora. It just is too bright at night.
And I will tell you, let me Google it real quick and find out, because I do believe that this total solar eclipse that's coming up in March 30th of 2033, I do believe that occurs shortly after sunrise. So it's going to be an early morning event. So let me check at the actual time for that.
And then, so as I was saying, we are getting to that point where you really don't see much you see too much daylight, so you don't actually have a chance to see the aurora even when it is occurring, and that is coming up very rapidly. We believe at the solar maximum, which means that over the next 5.5 years, we'll start to see a decline, but don't worry about that. We still have a couple good years of some pretty strong aurora coming through. So just kind of be prepared and.
Okay, so here it is. I'm sorry,
Go for it. No, you
interrupt you. The total solar eclipse for March 30th of 2033. It's going to the start of the total eclipse. That's going to begin in Gamble at 9:44 in the morning, and of course in Nome it's going to begin at 9:46 in the morning, which is only about an hour-ish after sunrise. So it's going to be early in the morning. That sun may be a bit lower on the horizon, but still should provide some stunning views. And one incredible thing that you see with the total solar eclipses, particularly when you're talking about those clear skies, all around you, 360 degrees, is a sunset, and it's just it's mesmerizing.
Yeah, so I know we're excited for 8 years away, but we are very excited about this happening. So thank you so much for joining us here on Skywatcher. Oh, one more thing, the Lyrids. The Lyrid meteor shower is peaking this Monday night into Tuesday. And most of Alaska has a pretty good chance of seeing the Lyrid meteor shower if you have good, clear skies. Basically, the way to do this is you don't have to look a certain direction. Go get your eyes used to the darkness, get away from any daylight, get away from any street lights, and then look up and just let your eyes adapt. And after about 10 minutes, you get pretty good your eyes are adapted to the darkness and you can see those shooting stars. Even until, I mean, we say it peaks Monday night into Tuesday, but really the next couple of nights, anytime you go out, look up, you have the good chance. If you see a shooting star, that's one of the Lyrids.
And another thing to add, shifting gears back towards the total solar eclipse, many may be wondering, we're in Alaska, it's always cloudy, it's always rainy. Well, March is actually the sunniest time of the year, historically speaking, for Western Alaska. So the odds are in our favor that we won't see cloud covers, but as we've seen, particularly with this year, we can still hold on to some stormy weather, but of course March is that time of the year that tends to be on the sunniest for Nome.
I am totally for this. I am so set for this solar eclipse coming up in about 8 years.
It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us here on Skywatch Alaska. If you get any photos of the aurora, or by chance you happen to catch one of those meteors in the sky, we would love to see it. You can send them to us by going to alaskasnewssource.com, and in the banner above it says submit photos and videos. It's the easiest way to get them to us.
Yeah, we love to show those off on morning edition, the evening shows, just showing all of the beautiful sights from across the state.
Thank you very much and have a great day.